good morrow, happy today. So welcome to the show. I am your host, Gerald, aka the Crypto Oracle. And yeah, you can check my handle at on Twitter at GER313. And let's not forget our sponsors, Quantum Economics, Quantum Expeditions, Shieldfolio, and our friends over at Deorganized, and all the other shows that are on the Bitcoin Live. And yeah, don't forget, if you are into mining and you would like to learn more, I've said for many moons, stay away from cloud mining. If you're going to get into the space and invest, look into something like Quantum Expeditions, where you can actually see the facility. You can even visit the facility. Obviously, you got to get permission, but you can visit where they are mining Bitcoin. Don't forget, howdy to all the people joining in today. Looks like Peace Love just stopped in. Oh, don't forget, yes, we have a discount code for the Shieldfolio right there. You can scan the QR code and you get 20% off. And basically what Shieldfolio is a nice little seed phrase book where it keeps your seed phrases stowed securely. But at the same time, if someone was to get the book, they couldn't just open it up and read them because they are written in a basically a secret ink where you need a UV light to look at the seed phrases. So it's not just as easy as grabbing your seed phrase book, or, you know, if you have a little memo pad or whatever and you write down your seed phrase in there, that's probably the best way to do it. But always remember that seed phrases written on paper can be destroyed. These are waterproof. I think they are working on another iteration that will be fireproof at some point going into the forward, but definitely get something like this, protect your assets. Today's show is the SBR. And what is the SBR? It stands for Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. And someone who's been in the space for many years now, I've been talking about this, I think, since about 2019 or 2020, if I'm not mistaken. So about 4 or 5 years I've been talking about this, where the United States needs to not only hold Bitcoin, but I've expanded on that, you know, since I do have a degree in political science, I do have a minor in U.S. history. Let's just go over my idea, which is called the Bitcoin Mining Authority. And it's basically a direct take on the TVA, right? So if we go back to the Great Depression, when we were coming out of there was lots of programs that were started. Thank you for the slide, Nick. That helped bring us out of that funk, right? Like the CCC, which is the Civilian, was it the Civilian Conservation Corps or something like that? Even though, you know, most of their projects were just like dig a hole here and then they filled it in, there was a lot of projects they did that helped build infrastructure across the United States. One of those other projects was the TVA, which is the Tennessee Valley Authority. And it's basically, I want to take that same idea of the TVA and apply it to Bitcoin. So we call it the Bitcoin Mining Authority. And basically, the whole point behind the BMA is we have offices all over the United States, probably like one in every capital to start out. And then basically, so we have 50 offices across the country, and the basically the job of the head of the BMA in your state. So let's just say I'm from Pennsylvania. It's the BMA of PA. They go from county to county and look for wasted energy projects. And if that township, jurisdiction, village, city, etc., has an idea, they can write up a proposal, send it into the BMA. The BMA can review this proposal and then eventually make a determination. Can we hook up some ASICs to this equation and generate revenue, right? Like as I've been saying for over 3 or 4 years about energy and Bitcoin, is that Bitcoin is the carbon credit, right? It is the distribution credit. It can be cash. It can be a store of value. It can be whatever you need it to be when you need it to be, right? So perfect example is TEPCO, right? Tokyo Electric Power Company, one of the top 5 energy producers in the world. They have recently taken their one solar farm and added Bitcoin to the equation, because what I've told people as working in solar industry for a little while is that solar and wind actually are great at generating energy. The bad thing about wind and solar is distributing the energy when and where it's needed, right? That's the issue. Like I said, it's not a generation issue, it's a distribution issue. And what happens is, let's just use solar again. There's high peak times during the year, and it's usually during, obviously, summertime is usually the peak of most energy companies. And then their downtime is usually fall and spring, right? Where you're going into these transitional seasons where you don't need a lot of heat and you don't need a lot of cooling, right? So there's way less electricity that's used in these intermediary seasons. And what happens is, let's say it's a really bright and sunny day in the beginning of October and it's 70 degrees. Well, people aren't turning on their heat. People aren't, if it's, you know, let's say it's 65, just to keep it a tepid temperature. Nobody's turning on their AC. Nobody's turning on their heat. So we have a lot less demand. So what happens is this solar company is generating tons of energy. Nobody's using it, right? So now it's wasted energy. So what happens in TEPCO's situation, they shut off from the grid. They turn on their ASICs. It's a basically it's a load balancing maneuver, and now we're balancing that load, that energy load, to the ASIC miners. Now, if we got into the summertime and they're mining, let's just say it's the end of May and we're getting close to, you know, full on peak summertime season. It's right around, let's say, Memorial Day. Well, in that same reverse scenario, TEPCO can literally hit a button, and now they're off of the Bitcoin mining and they're back on grid, and they can then, you know, put that energy back into customers and consumers' hands. One of the best tricks that they've come up with is, like, let's use Texas as an example. So last summer, multiple times the temperatures hit like 107 to 110. Huge demand for electricity on the grid, right? So we have lots of people cranking up their AC, whether it's, you know, residential community or it's an outdoor shopping mall with multiple units. Every one of those stores is cranking up their AC. So literally in a moment, in a literally a 5-minute call, good morning, literally they can, ERCOT can call them up and say, yes, huge spike on demand today. We can pay you guys to shut down. You know what the Bitcoin miners do? No problem. And they shut down within minutes, and they're restabilizing the grid. And then there's not, you know, the strain on the electrical grid that would be there if we didn't have the Bitcoin miners. One of the things that's very important, though, when we're talking about Bitcoin in the USA, and this is a little side tangent, when we're talking about the SBR, is jurisdictions, right? I've been warning about this ever since Texas has gotten very uber friendly with the miners, and it's great, and I'm glad they're being open arms and letting anybody that wants to come in. It's a big state, I get it. However, it is a single jurisdiction, okay? I would like to see some of these miners start shopping around, because you can get better energy prices in other states, right? Oregon, Washington, Wyoming, Colorado. There's all these other states that are very, or if not, I know Wyoming, Colorado is Washington in my state needs some work. But again, this is a message going out to the Governor Kotek. Governor Kotek, I live in your state now for almost a decade. I've called the last governor multiple times, multiple emails. They told me to hit up Bonamici. No, I'm going to keep doing what I do. You're the head person in charge, right? This is something you need to do for your citizens. The sooner Oregon has Bitcoin in its coffers, the better Oregonians will be, right? Oregon has tons of energy projects, tons of solar farms, wind farms they're working on, but there's parts of the state where there should be windmills everywhere. We can be one of the Bitcoin-centric states in the 50 states. We have a way better energy grid. We have way better kilowatt cost per ratio, right? So, I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that Oregon has to offer to Bitcoin miners. And it is something we need to do because it will stimulate energy growth, which is needed throughout the country, because again, energy demand has been on the only other chart that looks like the Bitcoin chart in the world is energy demand, right? So Oregon is a perfect candidate. Again, Washington is another candidate. They're a little bit more stringent than Oregon has been as far as policies pertaining to Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. But let's get into some of the articles that I had pulled up. We can share and discuss. Oh yeah, the first thing I do want to say is go Eagles. I know I normally don't talk about sports on here. Let me pull up my bookmarks page. There we go. But I definitely, yes, I want to make this a point for a lot of people. And I know this isn't a huge deal to some people because now I'm taking a huge tangent, but I want to make it known that, give me 1 second. There we go. That Philadelphia is America's team, right? It's been said for a long, long time that the Cowboys are America's team. Again, Texas, I love you because of the Bitcoin mining. But I'm going to point it right here, right? The eagle is our symbol of our country, right? This is where our country was founded, Philadelphia, right? So let me be really clear. Philadelphia is America's team, right? That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, look at the Eagles. There you go. Amen. Whoever said bald-headed eagle. Exactly. Yeah. No, yeah, go Pats. Yeah, not this year, bro. Sorry. But that's all I'm going to say. Go Birds. I've been a huge fan since I was about 5 or 6 years old. No lie. So long time, huge fan. Go Birds. I said my prayer. I said my piece. Back to the Bitcoin. It's a big game, important game. But let's get back into it. So I had oh yeah, let's watch this little.
Could we see here. Truly a lot of major?
This is, I think, this is Goldman Sachs commenting on BTC. Sorry, wrong one. Bloop. There we go.
Could we see truly a lot of major multinationals putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet, that kind of thing?
I think it's conceivable, yes. And I think as we've started to see, over the last year and a half, a lot more clarity, probably outside of the US. I think there's obviously been a big spike in the valuations across the whole crypto suite, as we've seen since the US presidential elections, that obviously is driven by what we expect will be probably a more favorable regulatory backdrop, and that gives confidence to kind of the institutions more broadly.
Could we see truly a lot of major multinationals putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet and that kind of thing?
I think it's conceivable, yes. And I think as we've started to see, over the last year and a half, a lot more clarity, probably outside of.
I just wanted to pause it right there. So in this same time frame, literally, and this is why I get upset when they don't put Litecoin on the board. Litecoin was up like 20-some% in this same time frame. Yeah, that's +4, +4, +7, +7. Yeah, 13% more, and I don't see it on the board. That's a little frustrating. But yeah, the big news, the other big news of the week, besides the Trump S coin and the SBR, is that Litecoin is rumored to be the next ETF. It's either XRP or Litecoin. Oh, wait, somebody said that. I wonder who said that. Yeah, that was me. I said that about 9 months ago before anybody else was talking about any other altcoins getting an ETF. Do you know who said that first? Yeah, me. So if you're paying attention to my show, you're doing quite well, right? Because I've been telling people, let me pull up another tweet, right? I think I pulled it up from this morning. Give me a sec. Yeah, here it is, right here. So you notice something on here? Yeah, you notice something? You notice something? You notice something? Yeah, it's really simple. There's Bitcoin, and then it's nice baby cousin Litecoin, and everything else. Literally, you can't print more Bitcoin. You can't print more Litecoin. You can print more Dogecoin. You can print more Ethereum. You can pretty much print any other S coin to ad infinitum. Literally. And I know there's other people that hold their coins and love their coins, and I have some S coins as well. But these are all they are, right? They are glorified P&Ds, right? They're pump and dumps, right? If we draw a Venn diagram of 99% of these S coins, you know what you're going to see? You're going to see one circle, it's that S coin, and then you're going to see another circle that intersects it. It says exchanges. That's it. That's it. Namecoin, yeah. Namecoin. It's an old one. Let me just show you. I used to have some feather coin, right? Yeah, that's how long I've been around. Yeah, and you know how much that feather coin's worth? If I find it on that wallet, yeah, it's like worth less than a penny. Okay. This is what people say, like, why do you talk so mean about Ethereum and all these other projects? It's really simple. I have many Ethereum wallets, right? $0, $1, 0, 0, 0, NAN, or 0, right? So again, you can say whatever you want. I have wisdom. You have a gambler's addiction, right? And don't get me wrong. Let's pull up some of the Trump S coin drama. I think I had a good tweet right in there about it. Oh yeah, there it is. There it is. Yeah, there it is. And again, so let's talk about the Trump coin a little bit, just a little bit. So the first thing you have to realize is that if you looked at the top 10 holders, the amount of money they invested, you weren't going to make a lot of money, right? Unless you're like a Portnoy, right? Even Portnoy got some of this S coin. Unless you're his type of trader, right? You have a war chest of $500,000 or more. Yeah, let me repeat that. $500,000 liquid. Unless you had that kind of money, you didn't make any money on Trump coin, right? So I think the number one holder bought like $30 million or something like that. Yeah, he turned it into $200 million bucks, but he had invest $30 million. Do you know how many times I've seen people take $1 million? How many times I've seen people take 10K and literally in 5 minutes, pew, it's gone. Literally. This is not an exaggeration. This is not me being hyperbolic. This is facts, right? Just look at my Solana Phantom wallet. There was $1,000 in there literally less than a month ago. $1,000. You know how much is in there now? 10% of that. Barely 15% of that. So this is why I always tell people, right? The first thing of S coins is it is not a long-term investment, right? It is not your life savings, right? The one kid, who was it? Who's a big crypto kid, something Lines, I forget his name, but he dropped $1 million into it, right? So you're not making money off of this crap, right? This was an exclusive thing. You know what happened? And again, I figured it out in 5 minutes because I'm a super smart guy. You know how this happened? I will literally break it down to you. The crypto ball. Here's all the Bitcoin people. They're all congregating around themselves. And then here's the other group, the shitcoiners, right? And those shitcoiners, right? They know Eric Trump and they know Donald, right? And they were like, hey, come here. You guys like Solana? You guys got a Phantom wallet, right? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to launch Trump coin. And they got all of those people that were at the crypto ball who were shitcoiners to literally whitelist right then and there at the fucking crypto ball. And you clowns the next day are seeing it on Twitter. Trump coin, Trump coin, Trump coin, Trump coin. And all you're doing is you are adding to the liquidity of their positions that have already 10, 20, 30, 100,000x. And you've got, oh, you bought $1,000 at 24. Okay, guess what? You're not going to make any money. You are not. This is called math. Most of the space is not good with math. You know how I know? They're called Gen Z and millennials. No offense. These are called facts, all right? You guys don't even know how to use fucking decimal points, right? You don't. If I said tens, hundreds, thousands, I just lost 80% of my crowd right there, right? That's not me being mean. That's a fact, right? But yeah, do not invest in this S coin. There's plenty of other S coins in Solana that you can go lose some money on. This ain't it, right? You've missed the boat, right? That's the first rule I teach about S coin trading, right? You're seeing it all over social media. You've missed the alpha. The alpha is gone. It is out the fucking window. I'm sorry. These are just called facts. So don't do it. If you want to get into the space and you want to be happy in 10 years, right? Yeah, exactly. Not financial advice. The point is, if you want to be happy in 10 years, this is what you should be doing. And again, not financial advice, but pretty good financial advice. You should be trying to get to 0.1 to 1 Bitcoin, right? You should be trying to get to 10 to 100 Litecoin. That's it. Everything else is a gamble. And I know people are like, Ethereum, Ethereum, Ethereum. Yeah, I used to love Ethereum. I still have a few bags. I don't own any ETH anymore per se. It just, enough to have pay for gas fees, right? Here or there. But yeah, look at that chart. Just look at that chart. It's a scam chart, right? That chart should tell you all you need to know. Like that many green candles. Are we at the top of Mount Everest or are we at the bottom of Mount Everest? This isn't a trick question. Like literally. Are we at the bottom of Mount Everest or are we at the top of Mount Everest? Anybody in the crowd want to respond? Anybody? It's not a trick question. we're at the top. If that was too complicated of a question. Yes. So the one thing I can tell you about charting S coins, right? They will have a peak, right? They will have a valley, right? Your objective, whatever S coin you're holding, is to sell between 9, 12, and 3, right? You want to sell somewhere in that range, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, or before. I usually say before 1 o'clock, but if you get it before 3, you probably made profit, right? But the first thing about S coin trading is that you got to look at the chart. If you pull up a chart like that, run away, run the fuck away, full stop, right? Like, that's just basic TA 101. You see the chart, there's more green candles than fucking if it was Kermit the Frog's fucking birthday, right? Like, come on. This is a no-brainer. You pull up a chart like that, you run for the hills. Now, if that you saw that peak and it came back down into a valley, that's when I look to invest. I don't invest at the top of that because you're a green candle chaser. And you know who green candle chasers are? They're just like ambulance chasers. You are amateurs, amateur hour, right? You're looking for that quick buck. And I get it. I'm pretty sure, even Portnoy pulled off a profit, but he sold. Portnoy sold. He's in and out. That's how you do it. That's the smartest thing I've heard Portnoy do in this space. You know what the other thing he should have done is taken all the money. Here's what he's going to do. He's going to gamble it on the fucking game tonight. Not the Eagles game. I think the Bills game. No, dickhead. You should take that money and buy Bitcoin and Litecoin, right? Buy 5 Bitcoin. That's 500K. And you buy like 1,000 Litecoin. That's what you should have done. But you're going to go gamble it on the Bills game and probably lose it because you're a dummy. Anywho, let's get back to the SBR. So, yeah, run from Trump coin. Please and thank you. This is just, again, look at the chart. You see that many green candles, you missed your birthday. Right? It's not your birthday. It's Trump's birthday. Oh, yeah. And the other thing, I hate to break it to people, let's just watch this little clip from Antonopoulos.
One of the interesting...
This clip, I think, is from, I want to say it's from 20, yeah, it's 8 years old. But this is why I tell people there will be many S coins, right? It's really simple. Here you go. I'm not defending it. I'm just letting you know. It is what it is.
One of the interesting questions I get often is how many coins and currencies will there be? And the answer to that is exactly equivalent to how many bloggers will there be on the internet. All of us, right? All of them. Not hundreds of coins, thousands, tens of thousands of coins. When a 6-year-old can create a coin called Joey Coin to launch in their school as a popularity contest, the fact that that coin is also global, unforgeable, scalable, and can be used internationally doesn't matter to Joey, as long as his 5 friends really like to use Joey Coin. A week later, unfortunately, a competitor, Maria Coin, is launched on the scene, and an old-fashioned currency war starts. This is going to happen.
So yes, we've seen time and time again that Antonopoulos is correct, right? The degenerate gambler in every crypto knot is palpable, right? So when this video came out, I remember I was a big S coiner back then. I probably had over 20 to 50 different bags of S coins. What you have to realize like I said earlier, when you are making these trades and investments, you can't be married to these, right? These are things you do not marry to, right? You marry to Bitcoin. You marry Litecoin position. Again, everything else is speculation and a gamble. XRP, again, I know there's huge XRP lovers out there. I think I always tell people its utility is that it does have instant liquidity, right? Like that's its main utility that it has. The ODL is very fast. But outside of that, right, everything else is garbage, right? Like it just is. And the maximalists that I've heard prior to Saturday's Trump coin news, a lot of, maximalists come down on all these other projects and products. There was, I'm not even going to point them out because I don't want to give them any credence or attention, but one of these maximalists was talking smack on XRP, and that's all he was doing, was talking smack on XRP because it was getting him engaged. He was engagement farming, the reverse engagement farming, where he's getting all these XRP people to attack him, and whatever. That's how you're going to engagement farm, whatever. But the point I was trying to make about this maximalist was that he was talking about XRP, which is a legitimate project, a legitimate product that does work, which I've used many times, and many banks globally, right? Bank of America is now using it. SBI Holdings is a huge bank in Japan, has been using it for many years. So it is a product and a project that is used globally, internationally. But that same maximalist didn't have the fortitude to say that, what's the real scam in the room? The Trump coin, right? Because even though people made money off it, there will always be people that didn't make money off it, right? No one wants to point out, yes, all of these Trump whales made a lot of money. Well, what about the thousands of people at the bottom of that list that, made a little bit? Oh, I made $100. Nobody cares. You don't even care. The person that made $100, $1,000. Well, again, those people, they're going to continue to hodl, right? Because they're like, oh, it's $100, $1,000, whatever they made. They're going to continue to hodl because you convinced them this is a long-term play. It is not, right? Portnoy, 500K, sold it like 900 to a mil, right? So remember, most of these things, they're going to hit a peak, and as soon as they peak, that's it, right? From Dogecoin, you pick out the S coin or the meme coin, and I will show you the chart, and I will literally, you see that candle right there? Yeah, that's when I told everyone to sell, right? Like go back to EOS, when EOS hit like, I think it was like $19 or $21. I was like, that's it. Yeah, exactly. And you're not going to be mad, right? Again, if you invested 500K, right, and you did a Portnoy and you sold somewhere in there, right, you made money. You made money. You're never going to be a perfect top seller. That is a myth. Get that the heck out of your head, right? And we talked about this a little bit last week. This is one of the biggest problems with the residential property markets right now, right? If all these baby boomers that are seeing their profit on their house go down, right? They're still in the green by a lot, right? If you bought your house in 70s, 80s, 90s, you're still in huge gains, right? But these people, these dumb boomers, right? They think, oh, if I don't sell this house for $597,000, and it's only getting 450 offers now, right? If I don't get this 500 and change for this house, I'm losing out. Like, no, dude, you bought the house for 110. You're like 400K in profit. If you sell it for 450, you're still in a good chunk of profit, right? But that's, everyone's playing this game of, this really stupid game of chicken where they think, oh, I'll just wait another couple years. I'll just wait another 5 years and the markets will go. No, no. Let me repeat. I've been saying this one for about 6 months now. Bitcoin is already repricing large scale items very quickly, right? A house just 5 years ago in Bitcoin price, right, was like 20 Bitcoin, right? Just 5 years ago, your average house was about 20 Bitcoin. Now your average house is about what? 4 to 6 Bitcoin. Do you see? Yeah, D-Pin, it's all right, man. It's again, I own a couple, right? Whatever. It's a great idea. It's great utility. Blah blah blah. They, again, most of them stink. Helium, I liked Helium, but then they went to Solana, and do I hate them now that they're on Solana? No, but it's Solana, right? It's garbage. Solana is great. I tell people when it works. You know how much downtime Litecoin has? Zero. Yeah, let me get back to that again. Let's pull up why Litecoin is super duper important. Play it again. I'll play it twice.
1, 2, 3, go.
All right, so we can see Ethereum $5, Bitcoin $1.50. Yeah, this is a shout out to my man Jack Mahlers, who added the Tron network. 25 cents, Jack, a quarter for Tron, bro, for Tron. Yeah. Avalanche about 3 cents. Dogecoin about 2 cents. Here, let's keep rolling past. Oh, and then look at that. Litecoin. Let's go back. Let's go back just a hair. There it is. A half a penny. A half a penny. So let's talk about this. And I'm going to leave that up. Why this is vital. Why this is so important. If you were going to build the digital dollar, it cannot run on Tron. Here, let's just pull up that, you know, just for... Raptron, what a joke. Oh, Tron is a quarter and its fees are a quarter. Yeah, does that add up? So when Tron's $100, fees are going to be $100? Huh? Say what? Yeah, again, it does not compute. Does not compute. Right? Let's go back to the slide. So where am I going with this? You can't build a dollar coin on Ethereum. We just saw that. $5, right? Oh, your groceries are $30. Oh, I'm sorry, $35. I only got 30. Well, you're not buying them with Ethereum. You're not, right? Solana, yeah, that wasn't on there. Fees super low. but is it working? Oh, wait. Oh, you're down again? Oh, I can't use that money. All of those other chains, as soon as the asset gets to a reasonable price, right? Like, oh, I made money. You're like, oh, wait, I can't spend it because the fees are so exorbitant, right? It makes no sense. And again, they're not the only ones to do that, by the way. I'm calling out Samson Mao. Yeah, Samson Mao. You added the Tron network too? Cuckoo. Litecoin. It's a proof of work, just like Bitcoin. And it has a capped supply, like Bitcoin. And there's not a million scams just yet running on it, right? So if you're going to have a real digital dollar and use it every day, it can't be more than a couple pennies, right? It has to be under a couple pennies. Even 2 to 3 cents is not going to work, because if the underlying asset hits X, it's going to go, like, again, just look at Tron. Tron's a quarter, and the fees are to do a transaction. It costs 1 Tron. And that they'll say, oh, it's only one transaction. Yeah, Stacks is great too. But again, if you're looking at Stacks, and no offense to the Stacks people, go look at Decred. I'm just saying. But Litecoin is the future. I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of people have money in Stacks and even Decred and all these other projects that are decent projects. I'm not talking smack on them. I'm just giving you the metrics, right? And the metrics are really simple. The #1 crypto in the world for actual buying shit is Litecoin. Oh, yes, of course. Of course. Again, my latest theory. Oh, yeah, if you didn't see my video on the drones, oh, who's looking correct again? Because yesterday, what were they doing? Now they were using helicopters to fly over DC to look for radiological materials. Oh, I'm sorry. Who was the only person to say that one too? Yeah, I'm an analyst, y'all. I'm not just a crypto analyst, right? Yeah, I know lots of stuff. But yes, let's get on to my new theory. And I think I've shared this with only a couple of people, so you all get to hear the new theory. So all of this goes to the SBR, right? All of it. Like, and for the people, you know, like I said, it was us, right? It's us using our drones. And I saw a TikTok video last night of, what did I see? Oh, a dark black GMC, right? Sierra, just like you see in every movie, with the tinted windows, some black ops, and they're flying one of those drones. Yeah, surprise. So my theory looks like it was correct, but the other theory that I was running tandem to that is that it's China, right? China is scared as fuck of Donald Trump. They shit their pants. And again, I'm not the biggest Trump fan, but when you're going into the world, right, of real game theory, yes, you do want your enemies to fear you. And they did not fear Joe Biden. I am sorry. I'm from Pennsylvania. Joe was a great guy for many years. He did some good things. But as president, no, nobody feared him. Who? You tell me. Nobody. But yes, Xi Jinping is afraid of Donald Trump. Putin, even though he's a fan of Donald, he scares the crap out of him because he is a wild card, right? I mean, I know that's what his name means. But it's the truth. He puts the fear in their butts. And again, that is an edge that you want, right? And the Chinese are scared as shit that he is going to pass this Bitcoin reserve, right? Their theory from 2019 was that if this happens, right, everyone's going to die. Yeah, no. Anyone that doesn't adopt Bitcoin is going to die. Let me repeat that. You do not implement the Bitcoin standard, your country will cease to exist. Yes, all the industrial cryptos are pumping. So that's one of my other theories that I'm seeing play out, that it looks like it's true, is that you have all these clowns that know nothing about crypto and they're trusting in AI bots, right? Literally, they literally are trusting in these AIs to pick stuff that's highly volume traded and is down like 20 to 40%. That's why you're seeing all the industrials pump, because everyone's using some form of AI trading assistance, right? Or they're using like a gun bot or something like that. And again, is it going to generate you money? Yes. But you have to realize when you're using these bot programs to trade, they can only be set, right? Because I've used Gunbot. I know how it works, right? And if you don't know, don't go buying Gunbot either, right? If you don't know anything about JavaScript or code, if you don't know anything about programming, do not buy a Gunbot. If you know some JavaScript and you do know how to program a little bit, yes, get a Gunbot. But the thing about bot trading that most people don't know is that when you set your parameters, right, you can set your bot to sell like plus 30%, plus 40%, right? Well, they can only go to like, most of these programs can only go to like 0.8, right? They can't do 1 or 2, right? They can't do, like, that's the one thing that's bad about these programs. They're not that good where you can be like, oh, I want to set it for 300%. No, they can't do that, right? They can go to like 80, 90. In some instances, I'm sure there's a few bot traders that'll let you go to 1, which is 100%. But that's not the case, right? So the one thing I've learned about charting and trading, especially in crypto, is that when you see right angles on charts, oh, that is totally HVT and or bot trading, right? 100%. It's high volume traded, and in most cases it's both, right? It's HVT trade and it's a bot, right? So it knows to buy at this and then hits its number sell. And if you see these types of waves, they look like perfect 90-degree angles. When you see that, that means yes, HVT and or bot trading is going on. Now, here's the bad thing about these programs that I was just explaining, right? You can set them to buy and sell at certain ranges, but they can only go to certain points, right? Well, when those bots sell at that point, well, if a huge volume of money comes in to that market, whether it's one exchange, like Binance, let's just use Binance. All this money comes into Binance and buys your coin. Well, guess what? It's going to break out of that range. And now your bot that was told to sell here, well, now the price is here. It can't. So now what happens? It's looking to buy lower and it can't buy at that price point that you had it set to because it's out of that range. And once it breaks through that range, boom, all your bots get broken. All your models get broken, right? And you can reset them, but it takes time and you have to go back in and reprogram and do all this stuff. And obviously there's companies working on, very simplified versions of these trading bots, right? Like KuCoin has one. I was helping Decred a month ago, and I was testing their Bison wallet. Very similar, like where they had a trading bot engine. You had to connect your API and stuff like that, and they're trying to make it easy. But again, once the price breaks, the asset breaks through that range, all bets are off, right? So then that asset can go really sky high and your bot is already out of that position, right? So this is the bad thing about those trading bots. All these people are generating revenue. As soon as that asset that they're trading breaks out of that range, then one of two things happens. They lost out on mega profits. And if the opposite's true, if the asset goes super low, hopefully they're out of it. But yeah, in some cases, if you don't have a stop loss set, you're riding it to Goblin Town, right? And that's usually not fun either. Now, I'm not saying to not use bots. What I'm saying is bots are good. They can generate revenue, but it usually the case. Yeah, Phoenix Green, that's who I was hanging out. Phoenix Green and his the other buddy. But yes, if they break out of that range, you know, then you're losing out, right? And then the bot can't, you know, it can't automatically readjust. You have to go in there and fix the bot's trading algo. Anyway, let's get back into the SBR. Yes, and again, this is why Litecoin is vital. I know people have fought me on this and fought me on this and fought me on this, but this is why Fidelity is literally did a prospectus. What's that? And sorry, something just came up. Okay, sorry. Not important. I thought it was important. Not important. But yeah, let's get back to the SBR and go over a few more things before we head out today. Oh yeah. Yeah, literally, if you didn't see that one, it looks like Kramer did comment on the Trump coin going higher, so probably not. Let's see, what was the other one? Oh yeah, another big news is that Massachusetts looks like it has bipartisan support for its strategic Bitcoin reserve bill. And like, again, these are states that I did rattle off, I think, a few weeks ago. Yes, we discussed Wyoming as well. Thank you for pointing that out, Nick. Like I think we stated 2 or 3 shows ago, I think I was like Texas, Wyoming, Kentucky, Tennessee, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, we already know, which again, being one of the first out of the gate, that impressed me from being, you know, born in Pennsylvania. I was like, what? But yeah, we're seeing the dominoes fall, right? We're going to see multiple states this year pass it. We're going to potentially see a federal SBR, right? Whether it's done through Senator Lummis's bill or it's done directly as an executive order B101, right? Bitcoin 101. I'm just, you know, throwing out my own title and name. It's going to happen. Is it going to happen on January 21st? I don't think so. If it does happen within the first 5 days, Bitcoin to a new all-time high for sure. Like, this is no ifs, ands, or buts. But I just don't think it's going to happen right away, right? I think what we're going to see first is probably, hopefully, and this is fingers crossed for everybody, is that we're going to see some type of either executive order or legislation on no cap gains tax on digital transactions. Yeah, you want me to say that again? No cap gains on digital transaction. Yeah, you all can say a prayer tonight for that one, because I've been saying that for some time, right? Because eventually, yes, good tweet by MattySats there. But eventually, like, why the SBR is important is because not only does it potentially eliminate cap gains tax on digital transactions or digital assets, it could eventually eliminate income tax, right? Now, I always tell people it's going to eliminate all taxes. No, I'm pretty sure we'll still have fuel tax and tax on, you know, sin tax, like tax on cigarettes and alcohol, sales tax, etc. But I do think with the advent of a strategic Bitcoin reserve, that within 10 to 20 years, yes, we could eliminate income taxes. It would take some time, but it can be done, and it should be done, right? This is a no-brainer. And again, the more and more people are talking about it, it makes sense, right? For the people that don't understand money, which is literally most of the country, if America bought 1 million Bitcoin, we have roughly 200,000. I put out a tweet like, I think it was like a week or two ago, when they were saying they're going to sell their Bitcoin, and I calculated their total position. I think they only sold like 60,000. I thought they were going to sell the whole 200 and some K. That would have been a lot and a big boo-boo. So I'm glad that did not happen. But we have roughly 200,000, right? So we have to buy about 800K more, right? That's a lot of money, right? But let's just say we did acquire the 1 million Bitcoin. Bitcoin hits 1 million. You see where I'm going with this? And it is going to hit 1 million at some point. So the United States sits on 1 million. It goes to 1 million, right? At that point, we can literally just shave off like 10,000 Bitcoin and pay down some debt, right? Or we take 10,000 Bitcoin and we create, you know, a new market, right? We can create a Bitcoin bond market. Now, you know, there's people that are already doing this with the volcano bonds, and there's, you know, Michael Saylor's doing it with his little convertible bond trick as well. So we do have people already attaching debt to Bitcoin in some way, shape, or form, right? And I think that's going to continue. And if that does continue, again, does it make Bitcoin viable for a digital dollar? On L1, I don't think so. Lightning, again, it to me seems like the only option to have Bitcoin as a currency, right? So could they build a digital dollar on the Lightning Network? I think it's feasible. However, something that we, you know, again, I'll keep saying it till I'm blue in the face. You want something that is obviously super cheap, super fast, obviously super inexpensive in the fee department, and it can also handle the Lightning Network if so needed, and it has privacy features, and it has OmniLight, right? Again, all of these things that now Litecoin can do, right? And you know, it makes it almost the Swiss Army knife of cryptos, right? The Mimblewimble upgrade alone sets Litecoin apart from everything else, right? It makes it actually viable to build a payroll system on Litecoin. Could you do that with Monero? Again, possibly, but then again, fees. That's pretty much all I got for you today. I think we covered pretty much everything, but I think we are going to see this SBR, right? We have now, right, multiple countries are hinting at it. Oh yeah, my theory is that China is so afraid of the United States creating an SBR, they're throwing their drones at us, right? And it's not that far of a stretch, right? Where we had their hot air balloon come over, you know, and people are like, why would they use that? Because it's, you know, it's a real low end technology to try and float over your country and gather lots of intelligence, just using basic, you know, cameras you can get anywhere, right? These days, most of these cameras you can buy for a couple $100 and they can zoom in pretty far, right? So they just made their own little satellite is what they did. But yes, my new theory is that China is so afraid of us, they're going to use any little tactic to try and scare us, either into making a bad economic decision or scaring us into making a poor military decision, whatever the case may be. They are deathly afraid of a Bitcoin reserve because it literally destroys their economic models, right? America holds 1 million Bitcoin. Well, then everyone else in the world has to start holding Bitcoin. And one of the few countries that has almost zero Bitcoin is China, right? They still have, I think, a teeny bit. But, you know, worst comes to worst, they'll just go raid one of their mines that they've let stay open because they've been, you know, filling out all the correct forms and paying out off the right people and etc. And they'll just steal somebody's Bitcoin if they need it. But they've thrown away all of their Bitcoin, right? Well, their Bitcoin miners, right, have left and gone to South America, Texas, etc. Yeah, and basically their economy is collapsing before their eyes because they kicked out like. So when you have a beautiful economy, right? Let's just use I can't even use any country these days because most countries' economies suck. Let's use El Salvador, whose economy doesn't suck because they have a Bitcoin standard. Yeah, perfect example is El Salvador, right? I said in 2020 when they passed this law and it finally went through that basically El Salvador will become a G20 country within the next like 5 or 10 years, I think I said. And we're heading in that direction, right? They used to be the murder capital of the Western Hemisphere. Now they have, I think, either the second or first lowest murder rate in the whole Western Hemisphere. So again, China's poop in the bed because they made a poor decision, right? They kicked out the uber tech elite, right? These people were billionaires in many cases, right? They already had thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin. And then you said pound sand and they left. And now they live in Dubai or they live in Austin or they live in, Montevideo, wherever they live. They don't live in Beijing. They don't live in Shenzhen. They don't live in one of 20 other massive cities in China and making your local economy millions of dollars a month, right? Because here's what you guys don't see, right? Oh, you're a Bitcoin farm. And yes, you generate X amount of Bitcoin a month. Yeah, well, their electrical bill, right? Their electricity bill is a huge bill. So that money goes into that electric company, right? And then they have people that work there, right? And again, it's a huge, huge thing. And you guys were just like, boom, this is Sparta. And you kicked them down the hole. And now that Bitcoin's at 100K, China's like, oh, shit. Yeah. And we're going to end on that note. Oh, shit, China. You shouldn't have kicked out the Bitcoin miners. And we're going to do the opposite of what y'all did and go, welcome, Bitcoin. And again, to all of the clowns that don't understand money, it's the only thing that can save America now. Literally. Well, what's your idea? That's what I always tell these clowns. Like, we're going to buy Bitcoin. Oh, it's going to make all these Bitcoiners rich. The Bitcoiners are already rich. You're not buying their bags, dumbass. You're protecting the dollar. That's what we're doing, right? We're protecting the U.S. economy, right? We're protecting the U.S. worker. That's what we're doing. And again, what's your plan? You're going to mint some $1 trillion coin? Yeah, we've got one. It's called fucking Bitcoin. Peace. And again, let's not forget, we want to thank all our sponsors, Quantum Expeditions, Quantum Economics, Shieldfolio, Deorganized, and the whole family at Bitcoin Live. Thank you so much, Nick, and have a great one. Peace.